That's it. You can drink a big French press or an American coffee and sleep like a baby after a few minutes. Nothing beats the scent of freshly roasted coffee beans or the mix of a nice latte. And of course, on top of the great taste comes this nice feeling of euphoria that the coffee gives. But as always in life, everything that seems good comes at a price. Unfortunately, coffee can make our sleep hell and disrupt our sleep cycle. But maybe you are different. You feel that you can drink coffee and this will not affect you. You can sleep right away. If this sounds like you are damaging your brain immensely. I'm a doctor. I will tell you what's happening to your brain. Please watch this modest video. First of all, I should explain to you one of the main reasons why we get tired as humans. What does happen to our body and brain to feel tired and sleepy? One of the main reasons is a molecule named adenosine. While we are working during our day using our muscles, our brain, a small molecule named adenosine accumulates in the brain. And this same molecule will sit on the receptors in the brain, giving us this feeling of being tired. It's like a signal from the brain to the body that you should take some rest. And obviously, the more awake we are, the more adenosine is in our brain and the more we feel tired. So the question here is, how can we get rid of the adenosine just to feel good again? Well, the answer is sleep. Yes, sleep, not coffee. Then why do I feel awake when I drink coffee? What's the interaction here? In fact, here comes the role of caffeine, the active ingredient in coffee. Where does this energy come from? Caffeine, once absorbed by the guts, travels through the blood to reach the brain, and until it reaches the same adenosine receptors. So what happens here is that the caffeine will bind on the receptors instead of the adenosine. Caffeine blocks the receptors of adenosine, hence blocking its activity or the signal from the brain to the body that we are tired or feeling sleepy. And this will give us a false feeling of rest. But what the caffeine is doing here is borrowing some energy from the future. Then the question here is, what's the problem? Then I should talk about the half-life of coffee. The problem emerges now from the fact that these adenosine will not go anywhere. They're simply waiting till the caffeine go out of their receptors, unblocking these receptors so they can sit on the receptors again. And you should not forget that now more and more adenosine are being accumulated because we are still working and awake. So when will the effect of caffeine go away? To answer that, you should know that the half-life of caffeine is around 6 to 7 hours. Half-life means that half of the concentration of a certain substance to be cleared out from the system needs that amount of time. And for the caffeine, it's around 6 to 7 hours. So this explains why if you drink coffee in the morning, you will feel at afternoon a sudden decrease in your energy, sudden feeling of tiredness. Because now after 6 to 7 hours, some of the caffeine left your brain and then you have a lot of adenosine accumulated. They will all rush on the receptors, making you feeling tired all of a sudden. So what do you do now? Typically, to counteract this effect, you go and drink coffee again. Okay, maybe this is a fix, but we all know there's a problem. Receptors upregulation. Here is the dangerous part if you don't pay attention to it. Studies have shown that chronic caffeine consumers alter their brain structure in a way that these same adenosine receptors will become upregulated. Their number will increase with time. Why? Because they are chronically blocked, and caffeine is not letting these adenosine do the job. And we as humans should feel the adenosine. We should feel tired because our body needs to rest. But if we are chronically blocking these receptors by drinking more and more caffeine, and our brain compensates by upregulating these number of adenosine receptors, this translates into us developing something called tolerance. What does tolerance mean? It means that now we need a larger amount of caffeine to feel the same effect we used to feel with a smaller amount. Instead of 1 cup of coffee being enough for you to stay sharp and euphoric, now you need 2 or 3 and maybe you will never ever feel the same effect anymore. And what will this do? It will lead you to drink more coffee, feeling less refreshed. And the worst part is that you will start drinking coffee in the afternoon, which we just knew that the half-life will take a lot of time to clear out of your system, which means that when you sleep, you will still have a lot of caffeine in your brain. And by the way, this is why, in fact, you can drink coffee and sleep. But does it mean that caffeine will not affect you anymore, will not disrupt your sleep cycle? Is it something good or bad since you are asleep anyway? So the final point that I should talk about is the quality of sleep. Even if you could sleep, as long as there is caffeine in your brain, you will not have a refreshing sleep. Your body is sleeping because you are exhausted, beyond tired, and you have a lot of adenosine and adenosine receptors in your brain. You have been relying on coffee and not getting good quality sleep for some time. So you will sleep fewer hours overall, and caffeine will make your sleep feel less satisfying. And the worst part is it will reduce your deep, slow wave sleep you can get, which is a critical stage for you to feel refreshed and satisfied in the morning. What I advise you to do is to detox from the chronic caffeine you've been drinking. Decrease the amount, don't stop. Coffee still has so many benefits, but try to decrease gradually throughout a period of 2 to 3 weeks until you reach a point where you drink only 1 or 2 cups of coffee per day, and preferably before 1 p.m. In that way, no matter what time you sleep at night, this will not disrupt your sleep. And finally, if you're struggling to have some deep quality sleep, because this is essential for your function, happiness, and everything, I made a modest video. It's an old video I made, but these are evidence-based practice how you can sleep like a baby. I will put the link somewhere. It might change your sleep.